Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the CarveCast, and this is a very special edition. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll already have some understanding as to why that is, but if you are listening, first of all, I must apologise if there's any peculiar audio background noise, because the reason this is a special edition is because I am on the road to Switzerland to a new ski adventure, and funnily enough, not by planning but just by chance, we have just come into snow. I am on my way to a place called Pontarlier. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not going there, but I'm going through there, and this entire area is literally covered in snow. So even though we're probably only at about 700-800 meters, there is snow absolutely everywhere. And for those watching on YouTube, you can see out the window the snow. So where am I going and what am I doing? Well, I am on my way to Switzerland, like I said, and I'll come on to that just shortly. But what I would like to reiterate is I'm obviously in a car. I am mic'd up and I've turned the noise cancellation onto the lowest setting. If you turn it up high, it makes the voice go a little bit funny. But obviously on the low setting, you may hear some background noise, engines, cars, maybe a little bit of kind of wind noise, something like that. So apologies for that if that does come across in the audio or in the video. I'll try and clean it up as best as I can, but you may well kind of hear, like there, we've just gone over some bumps, so you might hear that. I'm not too sure. I did test it and it sounded fine, but you never know. And yeah, at the moment, the snow is just beautiful. It's so nice to be coming into some snow. It is 7:24 in the evening on the 29th of March. The clocks went forward this morning, so I lost an hour, which was very annoying because obviously I had to be up really early to get the train, start heading over. I have 2 hours, 19 minutes to go, 122 miles. Haven't eaten a single thing all day long, and we're now obviously coming up towards 7:30, so that's not ideal. So I may have to stop if I see somewhere to just grab a bite to eat. But let's get back onto the main subject of this particular podcast. I'm on my way to Switzerland on what will not be the last ski trip of the year, because, and I've said it quite a few times, because I am very excited about it, on the 11th of April, and probably for a day either side, or maybe even longer than that, I am going to the Stöckli Ski Festival. And in fact, I've been told I need to stop saying Stöckli and start pronouncing it Stöckli, or at least Stöckli. So I need to do that. I need to start calling it Stöckli. So that event is something I'm very much looking forward to. I am staying in the hotel with all of the athletes, including, I believe, Marco Odermatt, all the staff, all the sponsors. So I'm super looking forward to that. Getting to see all the skis for next season. I have actually seen all of the new skis from Stöckli for next season. I've got like a what do you call it? A catalogue so I've seen all of the pictures and seen all of the stats and all of the other data, but I've not seen them in person, and I presume that we will see them at this event and maybe even get to ski them. Who knows? So that I'm very much looking forward to. But this particular trip is going to be absolutely epic in its own right, because obviously this time of year we should be getting real spring conditions, and actually throughout a lot of February we had crazy spring conditions, if not summer conditions. But I have managed to pick a time when the cold weather has come in. The freezing level, I've just checked on the app, is down somewhere at about 400 to 800 meters where I'm heading to, and there is indeed tomorrow about 20 centimeters of snow coming. So that is super exciting, and I've managed to time it absolutely perfectly, which I do quite often do. Sometimes through chance, sometimes because I see the snow and I think, right, I'm going skiing, which is a great way to go skiing, by the way. If you can and you have the flexibility to go when you would like to, rather than having to pre-plan months in advance, I highly recommend that you try to go either when it is snowing, or even better at the tail end of a snowstorm, and then you get to maybe have like a day or two in the snow, and then a few days of that snow on the piste, you know, in a bluebird, once that snow has been all pushed in and compacted into the base, and that is when the best on-piste conditions occur, in my opinion. So that is like a really, really good way to do a ski holiday. So if you can, sort of, even if you're only going for a week in a year, pick a week on demand as the snow and the weather comes in one of those different conditions that I just spoke about. That is the way to do it. That is how you will have the best ski trip possible. If you like that kind of weather, that is. Now, me personally, I like it cold, snowing, carnage weather. That is my favourite kind of skiing. And then in addition to that, I love the few days that come after snow on piste, because like I said, it's all been compressed into the base. The conditions are fantastic. The grip is off the chart and everything is just about as good as it can be on piste. But I do also love skiing in the snow. So if you can be really dynamic with when you go, and you can basically see that weather coming in, and you can pick and say, right, that is going to be my week, just maybe a week or two in advance. Probably not 2 weeks, that's probably too far out to predict, but at least a week. That, in my opinion, is the best way to do a ski holiday. But we digress. I'm heading to Switzerland, like I've now probably said 3 times, and lots of people have tuned out. And I'm actually heading to a chalet in Switzerland, which is owned by a friend of mine, Sarah. So thank you, Sarah, if you're listening, and her husband. And Sarah is actually a client of mine, and also someone who I go horse riding with, who is currently teaching me to become a better horse rider. And that is going to be my summer hobby, is horse riding. I've actually done it since I was very young, but only very on-off. Like, I haven't done it even yearly. So this year is my year to become a fantastic horse rider, or as good as I can possibly be. And it's great because it's good exercise. It's outside. I love the horses. They're incredible, incredible beasts. And that is like my plan for the summer. But I'm on my way to this chalet. Now, this chalet is in a location called Les Collons, and for those of us that are English, it's spelled Les Collons, just in case you want to Google it. And Les Collons is part of the Tion ski area, and in fact part of its own ski area, which is interconnected to the Four Valleys, which is the biggest ski area in Switzerland, and is absolutely vast. Some of the other ski resorts that are part of it are Nonda, or you may read it as like Nendas, just in case you guys want to Google this stuff. And then also Verbier, and some other areas as well. But the kind of main ones really are like Tion. There's one that begins with a V, Vayones or something like that. Nonda, and also Verbier. But there are other areas, other resorts that are part of the Four Valleys as well. Where I stay in Les Collons, in the chalet that I stay in, which you can actually rent if you want to. If you do want to do that, get in contact with me and I can get you a fantastic deal on renting this chalet for a week. It's a 5-bedroom chalet. It's got its own ski room. The most spectacular views, and I'm not exaggerating, that you've ever seen, right the way across a huge percentage of the Alps. You can even see on a good day the Matterhorn, and it doesn't have to be like a ridiculously good day, just an average good day, like basically not cloudy. You can see the Matterhorn, you can see Crown Montana opposite, you can see absolutely loads. It's incredible. The views are sensational. There's videos on my social media if you want to see it, but yeah, you can hire this chalet. Now I'm going here until, at the moment I'm coming until Saturday, so it's Sunday today, so I'm basically going to have 5 days skiing. Now, the great thing about this chalet is not only the fact it's absolutely stunning, 5-bedroom, got everything you'll ever need, but in addition to that, obviously the connection to the Four Valleys, which is a 2-minute drive up the road. You go and park in a place called Le Mas, get the chairlift up, and then you're into the Four Valleys and you can go wherever you'd like to go. But not only that, but it's actually only slightly less than a 1-hour drive from my favourite, you all know what I'm going to say, Zermatt, or Zermatt. That is literally less than an hour's drive away, a slightly spirited drive, about an hour, 50 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes, depending on various different variables. But I usually do it in about 50, 55 minutes, which is obviously incredible. So at some point this week, I will drive over to Zermatt for either a day or 2 days. I haven't decided yet. Maybe even 3 days, maybe even tomorrow. I really haven't decided any of this yet. But all I know is I'm staying in the Chalet. I will be sleeping there tonight. And tomorrow I can either jump in the car and head over to Zermatt and have a snow day in Zermatt, albeit it kind of, you know, it's a little bit more convoluted because I have to drive for an hour, get the train from Tash to Zermatt, blah blah blah. Like, you know, you've got to get up earlier, get over there, etc. Or I can literally drive 2 minutes down the road, go to Les and head into the Four Valleys and maybe ski over to Verbier and back for the day, and maybe do one of the yellow utility runs, Montfort, or one of the Tortin runs, or maybe even another one off the back of it, which is an incredible run. It's not as difficult as those, but you head down and it's all off piste, it's all utility run, but then you have to get a bus back to the ski resort Tion, and then you can like go again, or Verbier maybe. I can't remember the exact way around it works. It might even be Nonda, I don't know, but you can see it on the map. So yeah, I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do in respect to that. And in addition to that, I am also thinking about maybe doing a day in Crans-Montana this week, because that is only about a 30 to 40 minute drive from the chalet that I'm staying in. So not fully decided exactly what days I'm going to do what on, but the chances are that I will probably do Four Valleys, Zermatt and Crans-Montana at some point this week, all crammed into 5 days. So that's the kind of skiing I like to do. I don't really like, apart from probably Zermatt, maybe St Moritz and Val d'Isère, I don't really like doing long periods. And in fact, even in Val d'Isère and in St Moritz, I would probably only do a maximum of maybe 5 to 7 days in those places. And that's because obviously in Val d'Isère you've also got teens, and in St Moritz you've got multiple areas as well, plus a glacier, so they are that little bit bigger. But most ski resorts, I really don't want to probably be doing them for more than 3 or 4 days. I'm not really that person that likes to just repeat. I like going new places, seeing new things, and I also like destination skiing. And what I mean by that is, like tomorrow, for example, if I do the Four Valleys, I would head to Tion at Les and I will ski all the way over to Verbier and back. And that is my kind of day, because I've got like a target destination to go to and to get back from in a time limit. And I quite like that. I'm not really someone that just likes lapping, doing the same thing all over again. Not that I'm knocking that, because if you know, skiing is all about what makes you happy. It's got nothing to do with other people's opinions. So yeah, if you like to just lap the same run, power to you, fantastic. It's all about who has the biggest smile on their face. That's what is the most important. But I love destination skiing. It's like when I go to the Three Valleys, I like, you know, starting in, for example, Courchevel and skiing over to Orel, or starting in Meribel and skiing to Val Thorens, or you know, starting in St Martin de Belleville and skiing to Courchevel, like something like that. I like to sort of know that I'm heading somewhere specific, and I love it. By the way, this is beautiful around here, guys. This town, actually, whilst we're coming into it, being that this is a special edition, I feel like I can talk about other things as we go through the sort of the actual main part of the show. This place is called Pontarlier, and I'm sure, like I said earlier, I've butchered the name of that, but it's spelled Pontarlier, and it's actually a town. It's quite a decent size French town, really pretty little town. And one time, in fact multiple times, as I've been heading to Switzerland, and my route from Calais always brings me through Pontarlier pretty much, unless there's maybe traffic or something. I stop in the town and go maybe grab some lunch or breakfast or dinner or whatever the case may be. It's got loads of shops there. It's just a really beautiful town, and it's worth a little stopover. Shortly past Pontarlier you come into the mountains that are the smaller mountains. I've completely forgotten the name of them, even though I talk about them all the time. And the mountains that I'm talking about is where Meterbiev is, and June, and various other little mini ski resorts that I've actually made dedicated shows on before. Now, in these little mountains, they only go up to about 1,200 meters, and the name will come to me shortly, or I'll see it on a sign. In fact, I've just seen a sign for Meterbiev up ahead. But these little ski resorts in this little mountain collection that I have forgotten the name of, this is what happens when you get old, they are really, really lovely to go to if there is snow, like really lovely. And in fact, you can even stay in Pontarlier and drive up to Meterbiev or any one of the ski resorts that you would like to go to around here. And like I said, there are quite a few of them in this particular little mountain range. And it's such a nice little ski trip to either stop at these on the way through, stay overnight, ski maybe Meterbiev the next day, and then head on to Switzerland, because we're only really like 2 hours from, for example, Verbier, probably only maybe 2.5 hours from Zermatt once you get here, 3 hours. So this is a nice way to break up a road trip and do some skiing. But the problem with these resorts is because they're so low and global warming, yada, 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 let's not get onto that, that you need to make sure that the snow is here, because otherwise you're just going to turn up to quite literally a couple of puddles. So you must make sure, and at this time of year, even though there is snow on the floor, the chances are that only a few of the ski slopes would be open per resort. So the best thing to do is pick a time when you know the snow is here and come then. And you can guarantee that if it's snowing in the Alps, it's also snowing in the Juras. It's the Juras. The name has finally come to me. Isn't it horrible when you get like a total word block like that? So it's the Jura mountain. I can actually see a ski run to my right over there. So we're now heading up into the Jura mountains. And this is nearly always the way that I come when I'm heading into Switzerland. It tends to take you through Pontarlier, then up into the Juras, and you usually go through this little town called June, Jougne. And in fact, I've just seen a sign for it, 3.5 kilometers. And June actually has a tiny little chairlift of its own, which is connected to Meterbiev, although I have never seen it open, so I presume they're maybe in the process of fixing it, or they have never had enough snow. I'm not too sure. Maybe someone knows why that is. But that would be an ideal place to get into Meterbiev, because Meterbiev itself can get quite busy. Absolutely stunning views, guys. This is what I mean about driving. It's such a nice way to get to the Alps. Like I said, if there's more than one of you, then you've got the added bonus of in fact, it's probably cheaper. It's also better for the environment, considerably better for the environment than flying as well. And it's just comfortable. It's door to door. You haven't got to like get transfers, park, pay for parking, get taxis, go on trains. You haven't got to do any of that stuff. And I found as well that quite typically door to door, it's very similar depending on how far the resort is from the airport. So say, for example, Zermatt is a 4-hour train ride from Geneva airport. So if you drive and you both left home at the same time and you got to the airport, let's say 2 hours early, you're going to get to Zermatt or Tash, depending on what you look at it, at pretty much the same time. So not that much of a difference in terms of driving and flying. Now, if you were, for example, going to Austria, most of the Austrian places are only an hour to an hour and a half from the airport, depending on where you fly to. So that, because that's a further drive and the resorts tend to be fairly close to the airport, it's more difficult to justify driving to Austria. But even, for example, the Three Valleys, it's about a 3-hour transfer from Geneva to, for example, let's say Meribel. So even that, if you both left at the same time, one flew and one drove, the people who are flying, they're probably only going to be there maybe an hour before you. So even with that, you can still be quite time efficient. But driving is not about really the speed, it's about the relaxation, it's about the views, it's about seeing the culture, seeing the different places. I'm just coming through the little village that is June now. I'm not quite sure how the French would pronounce that. June, maybe, I'm guessing. Or June, I don't know. But either way, beautiful. Snow everywhere, stunning little village, really, really lovely place to drive through. And like I said, a bit further down here, and I might even try and get some footage and overlay it onto the YouTube video so you guys can see what I'm seeing. It's actually getting dark now. It's 8 o'clock on the dot. I've got an hour and 44 minutes to go, 98 miles. So that's all going to probably be roads, no motorways, based upon the average speed that kind of tells us that we're doing. Quite a few shops actually in this little village, June, which is unusual for a French village. And quite literally on the other side of this little village is Switzerland. It's about 3 miles, 4 or 5 kilometres past June, and you go through this. It's like a booth basically, but there's never anyone there. No one obviously checks your passport because you're in an EU kind of country or part of Shenzhen, so that you don't have to show passports. Although every so often, it's never occurred to me, but every so often probably they will man them and they maybe will do sort of random checks or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, just past this little area here of June is the Swiss-French border, and we're going to head into Switzerland. Now, if you were heading to Zermatt, for example, Zermatt is quite literally only a couple of hours from here. Verbier is only a couple of hours from here. Crans-Montana is only a couple of hours from here. Tion, where I'm going, or Les Collons, is only a couple of hours from here. You've got access to so much. There's ski slopes over there. It looks really cool. I might just have to... Oh, I wish I could get a video for you, but I can't really do it while I'm driving. But yeah, over here I can see lots of trees because we're in the Juras. That it's all tree lined. That's another nice thing about the runs in the Jura mountains and Métivier, for example. It's all tree lined because it's all low. It's only 1,200 meters at the maximum. I'm probably at about 1,000 meters at the moment, and yeah, just beautiful. I always love it when you see snow, you see ski runs, you see the odd chairlift. This run over here looks spectacular actually. And I think that is the run that I'm talking about, the links that I've never seen open. And maybe if we can pull over, there's like a little car park on the right where you can get access to that chairlift that I've never seen working. I might just be able to get a little video so I can overlay it and show you guys exactly what it is that I'm looking at. Looks fantastic. I know I keep saying it, but there's literally fields. Let me see if I can see what is going on. Yeah, you guys can see out of the window of the van that there is, you know, snow everywhere. But on this side, really beautiful views. Absolutely stunning. And I've done this journey, it's got to be like, I don't even know, 20, 25 times now, in both directions. And I still love doing it because when it's snowy especially, it really is just absolutely beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. But we're just coming up down here. Sorry guys. We're just coming up down here to a little area where you can pull over, and I don't know if I can see that ski slope from here, so I might go a little bit further, because if I can get that on video, I'd like to show you guys and overlay it onto the video. And I know I get all excited about these little ski areas, but honestly, they're just so much fun. They really are just so much fun and so different to the big Alp resorts that you would typically go to. And like I've said multiple times, I highly recommend it. I can see the chairlift, the one that I said never works. Let's see if anything has been open. I'm going to pull over and I'm going to get the camera, I'll get my phone out, and I'm going to take a little bit of video, and then I'm going to try, if I can, to overlay this onto this video. So this is the little area that I'm talking about. You can see there's like ski hire areas, you know, little restaurants and whatnot. And if I zoom in up there, you can actually see the chairlift that I'm talking about, the one that never seems to work. And just up there, you can see that ski run, which I believe would be the run to get back down here, that from a distance looks absolutely incredible. But like I said, I've never actually been able to do it. This is the road that I'm on. There's my little camera set up. But yeah, it looks great. But I wonder how these places survive if this ski lift never works. But then actually all of the chairs are out. If I zoom in, you can see all the chairs are out. So maybe it has actually been running. Because that ski run, it does look like there is enough snow there. Look, oh, there you go, look. Is there any poles? No, see, if I zoom in, you'll be able to see there is actually like things growing in that ski run. So from a distance, it looks great, but up close, yeah. So I'm not quite sure how all of these places exist really, because how would they make money? I'm not really sure. But anyway, enough of that. I will put the phone down. We can carry on our journey, and I can carry on telling you about some other things. So yes, this ski trip we've kind of already discussed. Obviously on the next podcast I'll talk about what I actually did rather than what I am thinking I'm going to do. Recently I went to St Moritz, and I'm not quite sure how much of that I covered off in my previous podcast, but it was my first time in St Moritz and I absolutely loved it. I can't tell you how much I loved it. Now, the place of St Moritz itself is a ridiculously upmarket place with upmarket restaurants, designer shops like you've never even seen before. Just the whole place is just full of money and wealth and richness. There's private jets literally flying in every couple of minutes. There's helicopters all over the place. There's G-Wagons like in numbers you've never seen before. It's an incredible, incredible place. You don't need to be a billionaire or a millionaire in order to enjoy St Moritz. There's lots of places on the outskirts that you can stay in. There's the skiing is just as expensive or not expensive or the same price as anywhere else that you would go to. We're just going through the French border now, which is leaving France. Yeah, but the skiing in St Moritz is made up really of mainly of three areas. You have Corvatch, Caviglia, and then there is a glacier area as well that I didn't actually go to. I'm just going through the Swiss border. It's always amazing how lovely the Swiss part is compared to the French part. Like, it's so upmarket and like just, I don't know, you can tell there's just more money here, as is everywhere in Switzerland. But yeah, so St Moritz made up of three areas. Absolutely sensational skiing, it really is. There's not much in the way of kind of challenging skiing, if you like. It's kind of similar to Zermatt. There's not really like that much sort of challenging skiing, but the actual skiing that there is, especially the on-piste skiing, is incredible. I can only liken it really to Chavinia, where you have these big, wide, open motorways, and Pila as well, rollers for days. They actually have an race circuit there, or maybe even it's a current race circuit, because Lindsey Vonn won there recently on this World Cup piste, and what a run it is just incredible, absolutely incredible. Now on the mountain of St Moritz you've got obviously loads of nice restaurants, incredible skiing like we've already spoken about. The town itself is incredible. Even if you can't buy anything, it's great for just people watching and going to the bars, and there's some great après there as well, which you might not expect. If you do want a couple of upmarket meals, obviously there's probably not many other ski resorts that can match up to it. It is a really, really incredible place to go skiing. And actually, talking of driving and road trips, the drive into St Moritz is incredible. The views, the roads, it is incredible. And something that's really, really unique about St Moritz as well is the fact that it's all kind of mountains that surround frozen lakes. Well, it surrounds lakes, but obviously at that time of year they're frozen. And be careful of speed cameras, by the way, guys, when you head into Switzerland. They do have them in France as well, but in Switzerland there's quite a lot of them. Beginning to run out of snow now. In St Moritz it's all kind of big mountain areas, but the views are all of like these stunning frozen lakes, and you can walk on the frozen lakes, you can do cross country on the frozen lakes, you can hand glide into the frozen lake like I did from the top of the mountain. It's just beautiful and really quite unique as well. Not many places obviously are surrounded by lakes when you're skiing. Obviously you've got Zermatt, and there are others, but St Moritz, incredible skiing. They also have a night skiing slope, which I loved way more than I thought I ever would, on a Friday night. Just an incredible, incredible place that I would highly recommend for people to go to. Underrated, kind of a bit more unknown apart from the name, but the skiing is quite unknown. It is just a fantastic place, and also really, really quiet as well. We were there on a very, very busy time, and it was like quiet, really quiet. So yeah, highly, highly recommend St Moritz. Just loved it there, and I actually cannot wait to go back and do it another time. One of them places I probably wouldn't spend more than about 5 days skiing there. I feel like, me personally, I would run out of skiing to do, but yeah, incredible. The problem with St Moritz is it's in a completely different canton to the likes of Zermatt, Verbier, and like the bulk of the kind of bigger ski resorts that you know of. So more difficult to bounce around resorts when you're over there, but it would probably be closer to somewhere like Lax, I'm guessing, and probably a couple of other places as well. So yeah, you could probably do a multi-resort ski trip over there. You just have to plan it quite carefully. There is actually as well, they call it like the most beautiful train ride in the world, and you can get a train, I believe it's about 8 hours from Zermatt to St Moritz or back, and apparently it's absolutely stunning. I'm not sure I could sit on a train for 8 hours through choice, but maybe one day is something I'll have to do, just to say I've sort of done it and to see the views and whatnot. But yeah, St Moritz, absolutely loved it, highly recommend. Don't be put off by the name, by the fact that it's full of Louis Vuitton and everything like that. You don't have to be part of that, you don't have to spend that kind of money, but it's still interesting to be, you know, to see how the other half live, basically. Fur coats, G-Wagons, designer shops. It's a very, very cool place. Fairly kind of pretentious, although not as pretentious as Courchevel. So yeah, there was that. Now, what Simon, me, Benji and Amelia, or Melly, did as well, is we did ski every single ski slope in Zermatt in 2 days challenge. And this wasn't every chairlift, this was every ski slope, every piste, whether it was a little runoff or a big piste, we did every single one, and we made it with only 2 minutes to spare. We skied nigh on 160 kilometers, 150. Sorry guys, the camera actually overheated and cut out, so I will try and blend these together, and you may not even hear this segment, but if you do, it's because I couldn't quite get them to stitch together in a way that was seamless. But we were talking about doing every single run in Zermatt in 2 days, and it was incredible. I'm going to do a dedicated episode on St Moritz. I'm going to do a dedicated episode on skiing every ski slope in Zermatt in 2 days over the summer months to keep up with some content for you guys. But for now, I just wanted to give like a sort of brief overview. It was exhausting. Like I said, we skied like, I can't remember, 150, 160 kilometers. We only narrowly made it. We were literally running between chairlifts to try and make it. We took it very seriously, especially Simon took it very, very seriously. And it was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun, and it was actually really, really rewarding when we got to the end and we actually completed it. But I was so broken, I was almost close to calling it a day because I have bad knees. I was exhausted. It was just absolutely shattering, but we carried on through and we did make it, and I'm glad that we did. But we all massively underestimated how difficult it would be. Not that the slopes were difficult, but just the kind of endurance of it was really, really hard work. And even like the mental side of it, Simon had the bulk of it because he had to map out what was the best way to go to minimise doing lifts and being skiing most of the time. But yeah, it was draining. Certain ski lifts we had to do 3 or 4 times, Like the Fergsattel lift, we did it 4 times because there's 4 variations on the way down. The Sunniger funicular, we did that 3 times because of so many different variations on the way down. Like it was really hard work, and mapping it all out was extremely difficult. So well done, Simon, for doing that so well that we did actually make it. But yeah, that was amazing. And I got to do a lot of ski slopes in Zermatt that I haven't done before. So that was another good part of it, was to just sort of almost force yourself to do every single ski slope. We did every single black, blue, red and yellow, believe it or not. And a lot of people think that Zermatt doesn't have any sort of more tough terrain. And it's not tough like it is in Verbier on the yellows, but they do have some good yellows in Zermatt. And when they are open, they're a lot of fun and super cool to do. And I'm actually hoping to do a couple of yellows this week in Zermatt, because where we're getting to the end of the season, they should pretty much be all open, I would imagine. So I'm kind of looking forward to trying some of those later in the week, or maybe even tomorrow. If I wake up early in the morning, I'm like, no, I want to go and do a snow day in Zermatt, because we're getting like 20 centimetres tomorrow. It's entirely possible I just go to Zermatt tomorrow, but I don't know for sure. Apologies guys for the cough, hopefully I'll edit that out. If not, I apologise again. So yeah, that is the kind of week that I have coming up. I'm very excited. I'm most of all excited for tomorrow, because I just love a full-blown snow day. I know you can't see very well and blah blah blah, but I just love skiing when it's snowing. And for those of you that are out this week, it is, I'm guessing, Easter week, because all the kids are off on holiday. I'm hoping it's not going to be too busy, but there is the possibility that it is going to be fairly busy, so we'll have to see. Although I'm not skiing any weekends, I'm only doing Monday to Friday, so hopefully that will help. And the lesser known side of the Four Valleys, basically outside of Verbier, doesn't really get very busy anyway, although Verbier itself is just in general a busy ski place to go. So yeah, especially on a snow day, maybe Verbier is not the place to go tomorrow. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do as yet. And even though it is 8:15 and I've only got an hour and a half till I arrive, and I have been up since a ridiculous hour this morning, and I mean ridiculous. Yeah, we'll have to see where I'm going to go. But you guys will find out in a future episode. I haven't done anything around gear for a while, so I've kind of been saving that, because things like that are good things to do. Camera just overheated again. It's a DJI Osmo Action 5, and I've never had it overheat before, but maybe in the van it's warm, or I don't know what it is, but it overheated. So I'm going to call it a day on this podcast, because I'm going to be stitching so many bits together later, and I'm really not going to have a huge amount of time this week. So I'm going to call it a day there, but I have got lots of stuff lined up, especially over the warmer months, to keep everyone up to date with their ski fix. Thank you so much for listening. If you got to the end, a massive, massive thank you. Thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for all the follows. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I'm heading to the Chalet. I'm heading to the Four Valleys. I'm heading to Zermatt. I'm going skiing. I'm super excited. I will see you in the next one.